So for the recorded portion of my senior thesis, I was gonna do a time lapse and then talk you guys through the code, but for the scope of it, it didn't really make sense to. So I was gonna break this recorded portion down into little progress checks as far as kind of how much I've gotten done and then what actually I have done in the game. So in this one, I was going to talk about the user interface I added to the lobby and then kind of the artwork and art style and that stuff, but not the actual game so far, just the lobby part of it. So if I do start the preview of the game, you do spawn in, so it does say lobby, and then you're faced with, the dungeon part, which is the actual game, which I haven't developed yet. So, each dungeon has a level, and each dungeon has multiple levels and then difficulty levels, so you can progress through them. Here, I just added a little artwork because in the overall game, I did see it was a little bit bland, so I wanted to add a couple things just to kind of make it pop a little. So this is why it's kind of labeled example fantasy props, because I didn't want people interacting with it and then thinking something was wrong. And then on the left side, we have the weapon shop, so you can upgrade and do things like that once you add these things to your inventory, which is by buying them. And in order to buy them, you have to earn coins. And by doing that, you have to beat bosses, earn XP, things like that. So for this stuff, I did use an art package, but that was already installed and, used or given to the public from the kind of people that work at Core Games and the community. But I did add my own little touches. If you can see here, there are like snowflakes falling from the sword. So I did add like a couple animation touches and things like that. And then as a final touch, I kind of added like a little castle in order to mirror the dungeon theme of my project. So yeah, that's the lobby part of my game. So this is the second recorded part of my senior thesis. In this part, I just finished creating the first level, which is the easiest boss fights, the lowest HP kind of bosses and characters you'll fight. And yeah, so this is the lobby as I've shown you before. And then in the actual game, you would go to the far left, which is where the first level dungeon is, and you click F, you'd enter. And then in the actual game, once you cross this kind of hurdle, the actual bosses start coming in. There's multiple of them. And then as far as it's like a kind of game where you keep simulating as many bosses as you come in order to gain more XP. And then you have the attacking AI, and then you have the prize AI. So this is for the level of boss you defeat, you'd get coins and things like that. So you'd get, basically when you collect a loot bag in the top right, you can see that the coin multiplier goes up because you basically killed the guy. So that's how the kind of leveling up system works in this game, and that's the first level dungeon. So for the third and final portion of my recorded part of my senior thesis, I just finished creating Dungeon 2 and Dungeon 3, which were the medium difficulty and the hard difficulty. And as far as difficulty goes, it would be as the levels increase, the harder the boss hits and the more frequent they hit, so their attacking AI is a bit better. And then for the player, you become more prone to attacks as far as hitboxes and things like that. And then also your damage dealt per shot or per hit would decrease as your level increases. So to show you that in effect, this would be level 2 if I was to enter. So this would be level 2, dungeon 2. You have potions and things on the grounds now because there's more bosses and they come more frequently. And then at the end, you have this boss that spawns in as your boss fight. And then if I was to go to dungeon 3, which would be the hardest one, you would be faced with much more monsters, more different levels of attacking AI. So you have an archer here, and then you have a dragon here that can fly and follow you. You have a shooter there. So there's multiple different, and then there's more attacking AI as far as how you die and things like that. So it becomes pretty hard. But yeah, so that's the game portion, the coding, and all the testing done. So as far as the actual game goes, that's how it would look if you went through each and every level.